Hello and welcome to the windiest place on earth and to our great American road trip. We thought we'd set out and prove that Malaise-era cars from America from the 1970s are actually not as bad as everyone says they are. And to do that, I've bought this 1979 Ford Fairmont. And I bet you're all thinking the same thing, because I was too when I first heard of the car. What is it? It's a car that everyone's forgotten. But in this instance, we've gotten the best example of it. It is literally brand new. That reminds me, where's my colleague? Well, there he is. There's a building that's moving.
Hello.
Have you put your anchor down?
I have.
What? It's enormous!
I know, isn't it amazing? This is a 1979 Lincoln Continental Town car, and never in all of human history has a model name fitted a car that well. It is Continental, it is the size of a town, and it is the car. Look at that.
I'm staggered. It's enormous.
I've heard that before. Look, let me tell you something. The 1970s was the era of personal luxury, okay?
You don't say.
So we knew that under here, the engines, not quite what they were.
Really?
They used to make 200-300 horsepower. This makes 160.
In this?
Yes.
How does it move?
4,800 pounds.
4,800 pounds?
Yep.
How does it move?
Not quickly.
What's the top speed?
Well, the dials only go to 85. So, about that. But look, to make up for the lack of power, you got a bunch of other things, right? Around the front, you got the big waterfall grille, Bentley style. There's coach lines,
Yep.
There's white walls, and if we come around back, it does take a while.
A bit.
Opera windows.
I do quite like the upper
That
one.
is my favorite part
They've
of
got
the 70s.
A gold inlay of the Lincoln. You'll have to excuse me, I'm shaking a bit. I did explain it's the windiest place on earth.
But look, we both have some quintessential 70s features. We both have coach lines.
Yep, definitely. Yep.
We both
yep.
have vinyl roofs. And can I just say, I love this car.
Oh yeah. I was just telling everyone before you arrived that this is a car that nobody knows about, but it's the best example of the car that nobody knows about.
Now, we're here in Chicago today for one reason: to prove that the Malaise era wasn't as bad as everyone says. And to do that, we're taking our cars on an epic road trip. Despite paying just $3,400 for the Ford and $4,500 for the Lincoln, we think that these cars are capable of tackling America's greatest road trip, Route 66. So today, we're embarking from the start point here in Chicago. However, things had already not gone entirely to plan.
I should explain, this isn't actually the car we were meant to do this in. We found a 1976 Plymouth Volare.
Volare.
Another car that nobody's heard about.
No. It was very cheap, $2,300.
$2,300. It was a very interesting car. It was green, sort of
Had a
snake
V8
green. It had
motor.
a V8 motor in it. It went like hell. But on the way back, in a torrential thunderstorm and all that stuff,
Yep.
calamity, horrible, there was a horrible chunking sound coming from the middle of the car. And then many more clunks, and then it didn't have any drive, so I had to pivot out the highway. I had to volare out of the highway.
Volare off into the shoulder.
And it turned out the entire transmission exploded.
So that car went kaput, and then we found this. And I have to say, I think this is better. It's a museum piece.
Quite literally, and I'm just surprised that we found it, because this was a car that even Ford themselves marketed as just a cheap car.
Yeah.
There were no styling features, it was just to look as generic and as inoffensive as possible. In fact, it was advertised as a car perfect for the money.
We'd love it even without the low price, but not as much.
Literally, all of the ads were just sexism and it's very cheap, Ford Fairmont.
The ads for my car were a bit different.
Were they?
Because this is legitimately the last truly full-size American sedan. Every other car was smaller in the 70s. This was the holdout. Truly. It is 232 inches long. It is a foot longer than a Cybertruck.
It's just
All right?
ridiculous.
It's amazing.
Somebody sat in a boardroom at Ford and said, how big should we make the car? And they all just went, yes.
I can't reach both sides of it.
It's just...
And so the advertising campaigns for this were just, everybody else's car is getting smaller. Don't be a little bitch. Buy the big one.
Some luxury cars are smaller than last year. The 1977 Lincoln retains its traditional luxury car size.
The same people who made this very small car
Yeah.
told people not to be a bitch and not buy a small car and buy that instead.
Well, if you're rich.
Would you like a tour of my interior before my arms fall off?
Yes.
Quick, get in the wind.
Ow. I hit my head on the camera. It's so cold out there.
Have you ever seen more blue in a car?
No. I also have to say, I've never seen a car this old that's in this shape.
I just want to highlight the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Feels better than any other car I've driven, and it's almost 50 years old.
So this is what you got.
Yeah.
In 1979.
This is it.
Base model. We've got a bench seat.
We've got a bench seat, which
We've
is
got
covered
roll-down
in fabric.
windows.
Of course. Well,
Gotta
they won't
have those.
They won't break. There is my favorite feature of all time.
Okay.
Period correct.
Yes.
An enormous and very well used ashtray.
But look, I mean, that's all you need, right? It's 1979.
Yep.
You want something that's economical. You want something that will get you from A to B.
Yep.
It's smaller, it can fit,
This is it.
and it's still got some fun. It's got the blue, you've got the white wheels and the paint and
I mean,
the coach line.
Seriously, this car, adjusted for inflation, was about 18 grand when it was new. And look
18
how
grand.
fun the interior is. You can't, if you buy, what's the cheapest car in America today? It's the Corolla, Toyota Corolla, isn't it? One of those
Something like that.
horrible things, right? And the interior is just a plastic bag.
I am very jealous of the condition of your car,
Yeah.
but I'm not jealous of the features. Now look, I'll admit, 1979, the cost cutting was starting to happen. I mentioned the smaller engine.
Yeah.
The dashboard was also downgrade.
Was it?
The older models had a metal-based dashboard. They had a different speedo. This is all plastic. But look, the fundamentals are still there. These seats, this is my grandfather's armchair from his house. Same one. It is unbelievably soft.
Oh, it's incredible.
These armrests, it's a cushion. Everything is a cushion. Here is a cushion. This is a cushion. This is a cushion.
Even the glove box door looks like a pillow.
It's a cushion. I have 117,000 miles. This
That's a
car
lot.
was a driver. Somebody drove this. I have all of the documentation that this guy had. It's truly amazing. Let me show you. These are receipts for service, for parts, for everything, dating all the way back to 1995. And this car also came with a name. Her
Did it?
name is Georgia, as you can see
Georgia
here.
the Lincoln.
Georgia,
Oh,
the 1979 Lincoln.
I quite like it.
I know, I
quite-
just love this car.
But so see, that's my question, and that's my point. Why did everyone just crap on these cars so much?
For the time, you got absolutely everything. The lights are vacuum operated. The wipers, I love the wipers in this car because,
Oh, I was gonna ask, I don't see them.
yeah, you don't see them because if you turn them on, they rise out of the hood. We've got interval, so that's gonna
look at
pause,
that.
right?
Hang on a second. Did they make them hide under the bonnet for aerodynamics?
Oh no, that's for fanciness.
Because I was gonna say,
This car has never
if
even
they
heard
did
of
that
a wind
for
tunnel.
aerodynamics, they forgot about the rest of the car.
No.
It looks like you're driving the Empire State Building lying down.
I can't believe how cold it is.
I want to get out of here, please.
The most unbelievable part about this trip is that in 3 days, we're gonna be in the desert. Start your car up.
Starting it up.
Now, I should be honest here. We've had a bit of trouble starting that car, but I don't think it was the car. Andrew keeps forgetting to put cars in park, and then he goes, oh no, it won't start going.
Yes.
Yes! Let's go.
Finally setting off on our voyage across the country on the legendary Route 66. I'm just so excited, and we get to do it in some of the most interesting cars. The Lincoln, it's a statesman of what American cars used to be. It's just long and enormous and incredibly comfortable. And then we have this, the Ford, which basically brought the trend of the small car over to the US. It's super easy to drive. It's got a big wheel. It's got a vent. Yeah. What more do you want?
So what exactly do we mean by the malaise era? Well, from 1973 until the mid-1980s, the American car industry faced a reckoning because with the oil crisis in '72 and increasing environmental and safety regulations, the traditional American car just didn't really work anymore. And all of a sudden, these American car companies that until then had run completely rampant in the US faced competition from Japanese and European automakers. And so during this time period, it was basically just the American auto industry trying to figure out how to survive in this new landscape.
It's got 80 horsepower, or 87, I'm not entirely sure, because they kept changing the figures throughout the time. This is a 4-cylinder engine, which is unusual for an American car of the era, and I'm not entirely sure how we've managed to find one in essentially brand new condition.
Now, both Andrew and I have Fords, and they're both from 1979, but they couldn't really be more different if they tried. My car is a survivor. It's the last massive American sedan. Andrew's car is one of the first downsized sedans that came out in this time period, and I think that makes this a really interesting comparison.
If it was listed on eBay, it would be listed as mint in box. That being said, however, there are a few niggles and faults with it. Number one, the fuel gauge doesn't work, so, oh God! Actually, yeah, that brings me on to the second problem. 1970s drum brakes. Oh God.
I see a face that you're making back there. Are you having a drum brake moment?
Oh God, 2,000 miles with almost no brakes.
The irony for my car being the big old boat is that I have discs on all 4 wheels. This is one of the first cars that offered that.
Why do I always end up with a car with no brakes?
Route 66 is one of the most iconic road trips in the world, and at over 2,300 miles from Chicago to Santa Monica, we knew we had our work cut out for us in these 46-year-old cheap cars that we bought on Facebook Marketplace. But nonetheless, as the sun went down, we set a goal of reaching St. Louis, Missouri by the end of day 1 of our journey. So we started racking up miles in classic 1970s fashion.
We still have the residual impact of sin in us. We still can be tempted that way, but it goes.
As the miles wore on, both cars were doing really well. And that's a good thing, as we had prepared for this trip months in advance. I sourced my Lincoln weeks prior and had my friend in Ohio pick the car up, so when we got there to work on a different video, we had the Lincoln all checked out.
Oh, look at that, you've got cushions on your... Wow!
I know, there's double cushion.
With fresh fluids and a clean bill of health, Georgia took us all over the state in search of what eventually ended up being our second car, the Ford Fairmont. We racked up nearly 2,000 miles before the trip even began. Once we got to St. Louis, the plan was to stop at a mechanic and get the Ford checked out as well, but despite our due diligence, a few hours into leg 1 of our journey, things started to fall apart.
We got a pretty major problem. I was driving down the highway and it started slipping gears. I think I'm low on fluid.
So what happened?
I mean, I was just driving along like normal.
Yep.
And then I felt it lose power.
Right.
And then it kicked back in about 2 seconds later. And then I lost it again.
I've got Downy dish detergent. Is this good? We'll put this in.
Thank you.
I do.
Thanks.
Good.
Very helpful. Good day.
We've got gearbox troubles on this trip.
It's right here.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yes. All right, we've now wiped the dipstick. Let's go see.
Go and sheath it.
Good Lord. Why is everything we do a mess? The fluid looks clean and pink.
Yep.
And it's full.
There's no metallic bits in it.
Yep. Good. That shuts.
Good. Let's go.
Yep.
Get in, radio, we plan. Go.
Yes. All right, I'm going. Okay, that's 1 to 2. That shift felt fine.
As we continued on, what started as a relaxing evening drive was now extremely tense. We were all on the edge of our seats, so I called my mechanic friend to see if we could figure out what might be going on.
Basically, what we think happened here is I've got a C6 automatic transmission in this. A lot of old Fords have it. And third gear in these transmissions is vacuum actuated. So these old transmissions operate hydraulically, but for third gear specifically, there's a vacuum on the engine that tells the transmission, okay, we need third. So if there's a vacuum leak or we're at that threshold where maybe something isn't quite fitting exactly right, it might tell the transmission to go out of gear, which might have been what happened there. Day 1, by the way, the Malaise era road trip. Good.
With me leading the convoy in the Lincoln, we kept going deep into the night.
It's 1:30 in the morning. I just want to go to bed and deal with this in the morning. We're 20 minutes away from the hotel in St. Louis, which was our goal to get there today. Come on, car.
Please don't volare yourself. Please. Oh, God.
However, with just 10 miles remaining.
Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, God, uh-oh. The car's broken. I think it's fucked. We have to pull over immediately.
Pulling over, pulling over, pulling over.
Oh, shit. I heard grinding. I heard a lot of grinding. I've lost power steering.
That's my brakes, not my gearbox.
It's died. It's died. Oh, no. Oh, no. Fuck. No. No. I'm gonna try to crank it. Nope.
Not even a crank.
I think we're out another car. Look, this is what happens. I really wanted this car to make it. It's the first day. Something just went. It went. Because I heard it clunking. I went, oh fuck. I put it in neutral.
Yeah.
Because I figured, okay.
It'll, whatever.
Disconnect it.
Yeah.
Engine went off.
I'm gonna go start Googling for tow trucks.
Okay. Shut the door.
Yep.
Fuck.
I think that's it.
It was now nearly 2:30 in the morning, and the only thing we could do was call a tow truck and get the car to a motel nearby to deal with it in the morning.
That's the quickest it's ever moved. Hold on.
As luck would have it, we managed to find a shop just a couple of minutes down the road, and with the Lincoln being looked at, we had the Ford checked out as well. Of course, doing this with the Lincoln in the state it was in was not ideal, but we had wanted to get the Ford checked out on video anyway, just to make sure that we'd be good for the rest of the trip. So we specifically asked to take a look at the brakes after the grinding sound we heard the other day, and we found something a little surprising.
Holy shit!
You drove on that.
I'm shocked that I'm alive.
You idiot.
If that had shattered, you know, this thing will only move so far.
Yeah.
So with the hydraulics, and then it just shatters it, and you're, you know, now it's trying to compress more, and that piston pops, and
And then I lose all brakes.
all breaks.
Yeah.
We were honestly surprised that the Fairmont had discs in the front at all, but when it came to the rear brakes, we learned something incredible.
Those drums had never been off. The factory speed nuts that they put on to hold it so that when they put the wheels on, the drums don't move, those have never been apart. They've never been off because the speed nuts get ripped off when you pop the drums. So it was on the
that's
original
just-
back brakes.
So those back brakes are original from 1979.
Wow.
Should be dry inside there.
Okay. Good. Very slow car with no brakes.
No, saddest
fine.
part is someday the man that's working on this car is not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
skill set and that knowledge is
It's just
gone.
going away, yeah.
These cars are on a bit of a
He
clock.
said he worked on millions of these. He's been doing this for over 50 years. He's worked
Wow.
on millions. He remembers when Fairmonts were in abundance. We were talking
Has he
about
ever
that
seen
this
one
morning.
this clean?
You gotta say, they asked if you've seen one this clean, body-wise.
I'm not since probably 1982.
As for doing the stuff with the carb, Ralph and I talked about it because he brought it in first thing this morning. So when he's done, I'll go after the choke stat adjustment and mixture and
Right.
try to get the carb dialed in.
Right.
But everything else we've seen on here, it's impressive, my boys. It is impressive. No driveline leaks. Other than there was a little bit of oil on the body of the mechanical fuel pump, but it's probably just working its way down the push rod,
Right.
the arm of the pump, and then walking past the gasket, but it's super minimal. I would leave it.
So outside of the brakes and adjusting the carb, everything else looks really good.
I think you guys will be okay. Now, the tires on this thing are dated. The DOT date is from 2007. But tires back then were made much better than they are now. The composition of the rubber was much better. The tires look great.
It's been in the garage all of its
And that's
life.
why they're
and
not
that's
dry
why.
rotted.
There it is.
And
Yeah.
if it was mine, I would drive on them.
And as we moved under the car, the good surprises kept coming.
Wow.
it's incredible.
the footwells here. That's just incredible.
And look, you can see there's even still the blue paint on the underside here.
That was something else Ralph mentioned, is the oil pan still got paint on it. Yeah. Don't sell this car. That's
Crazy. How did we find this car?
I don't know. More to the point, how did I drive it 250 miles and not die? Well, those brakes. We knew that you were close to death. And
I'm proud of you guys for what you've done. I mean, this is it's not that great of a setback. I mean, it's just a different,
configuration, let's say, yeah.
it's a different accolade. You guys are getting the material that you need to continue doing middle lane in a different way. That's all that is.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
It's not that much of a setback. You get to meet the most amazing people on these journeys.
Yeah, every
That's
time
it.
that we've
Every time
done a
we do
trip,
it.
we have met the most incredible people who have given us so much knowledge and experience.
Even in countries that nobody speaks the language in, and it's
Yeah.
been
Everybody speaks car, though.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's
It's the
what
universal language.
united.
Universal language.
That's it. Yeah.
So with new brakes installed and the carburetor tuned to run as smooth as possible, we all piled in the Fairmont to go for a drive.
Feel that?
Oh,
That is-
yeah.
Oh, there you go, guys.
It's purring. It's purring.
All right, and we're forward. No, not really. That's about quarter throttle. Let's see with more fuel how it. Actually, it seems to pick up quite a bit better.
Yeah. It just feels brand new. You wouldn't think you're in a 46-year-old car.
No, new cars are garbage. This is quality.
Agreed. Better than new.
At this point, we'd been in the outskirts of St. Louis for more than 48 hours while we were waiting on parts and the final verdict on my beloved Lincoln.
Junk. Ooh. Opening door sound. Thunk.
Yep.
So things didn't quite pan out the way that we wanted them to. Unfortunately, there was no fairy tale ending
No.
like in Romania, where we found a magical man who could put
Repair
a hose
Joe
back
and-
on the engine and
Yeah, and then we carried on bravely to Berlin.
yeah, that didn't happen.
No.
Unfortunately, we lost the Lincoln.
Georgia is dead.
Despite the incredible efforts of Neil and his team that worked on the Ford, Georgia was not as lucky. She threw a rod bearing and the engine was completely seized. So sadly, this was goodbye. However, all is not lost, as Neil ended up buying Georgia and now plans to swap in a replacement engine, original spec, to bring her back to life. And while the loss stung like the death of a beloved family pet, we decided to soldier on.
We wanted to do Route 66 in classic American cars from this particular era, which was a period of transition.
It was. It really
Things
was.
are really changing, and this, I think, represents a lot of what changed in the 1970s during the malaise period.
Pretty much, yeah. This is the first of a new generation of cars.
Yeah. It's smaller.
So far, a lot more reliable than the old generation.
Well, that's true. But the biggest problem that we now have is the gas gauge doesn't work.
Oh yeah, that doesn't work. Wait a minute, that's a big problem.
Yeah, it
we used
is.
the Lincoln as the gas gauge, and now that gas gauge blew up.
We have to track the mileage manually.
Let's get a chalkboard or an abacus.
An abacus?
Whoever's the passenger will just go every mile.
Okay. This is like a good old-fashioned road trip.
Pretty much, yeah. There's calamity. There's
Yes.
things we have to calculate. We don't know if we're going to make it, but I think we will.
I think we will.
I think we will.
So let's go get gas.
Let's do that.
Can I drive?
No.
What is this song?
Gloria, Umberto Tozzi.
I like it. I'm getting weirdly nervous now because we're now actually resuming the trip. It's sort of been a 2-day pause. Oh
Started.
good, it's playing ads. I hate those.
They're playing ads?
Yeah, they do that now. They play ads on a little screen.
Which
And
advertiser?
then Maria Menounos comes on to tell you about what happened in Hollywood, and I don't care, I'm getting gas. All right, we gotta write down the odometer reading.
A 17-year-old
We're
was
doing
on her first
manual
day of the
MPG
job.
calculations here.
Hey, you're not getting in the driver's seat.
Shut up.
You're gonna blow it up.
No. 57,922.
I've got a pen. We could write that down.
I'll put it in the notes app.
Good.
All right.
Here we go. We're setting off. We live a very weird life.
We really do.
Umberto Tozzi.
Umberto Tozzi! We do have really good luck on these trips of finding connections and finding people who sympathize with what we're doing and want to help out. And
But you see,
the
that's
work that they did on this car is just fantastic.
But you see, that's the thing. Car is the universal language because
It
we
is.
were helped out in Romania when we didn't speak the language. I mean, granted, here we do speak the language, but still,
Yeah.
people see the cars that we're in and they always just, want to be a part of it.
I'll tell you what though, I actually think that the real malaise era is right now.
I agree with you entirely because this entire drive we've been surrounded by new modern cars, including our camera car, which is a Volkswagen Tiguan, and they're just so dreary. I mean, fine, yes, they don't break down. Let's be clear on that.
That is a benefit.
Reliability is a lot better,
Yes.
but imagination and creativity isn't.
This car, when it was new, was not an interesting car.
Not by any means.
By any
yeah.
means. It was slow, it was underpowered.
Yeah.
It was literally sold just because it had good gas mileage and it was small, cheap. But despite that, by today's standards, this car is still interesting. We have white wheels, we've got a pinstripe two-tone paint,
So much
blue
chrome,
interior, lots of
chrome everywhere. Lovely
It's-
fake wood.
Attention to detail
Yeah,
was
yeah.
still there. We're in the middle lane. We've got Umberto Tozzi.
We're doing 62.
That's enough.
It's good.
Things are looking up.
Things are looking very good.
With a renewed sense of purpose, we set off again into the night, this time leaving St. Louis with more than 1,800 miles left on our now one-car road trip.
We've done it.
We've done it.
We've actually made it to a hotel for once.
On time, by the way.
And it's not 3 in the morning on a tow truck.
We're not crying.
Things are getting better for us.
So we got in last night, and I think the oil was a bit low, but we were parked downhill. So
We're about to check it again.
we'll check on a level surface here.
If you need mechanics, comment down below.
Call us.
We'll come up.
We're really good. Let's take a peek, shall we? So we're definitely, I mean, it looks clean, but we're definitely losing or burning oil a little bit.
I suspect burning because there isn't a puddle under the car.
No.
Oh God, that is the oil filter. It's buried deep in the engine.
Yeah,
That's
the oil
a terrible
filter is...
place for it.
Volare, oh, cantare, oh,
It's like cooking. We needed some oil today so that we don't blow up again.
I'm kind of sick of blowing up, aren't you?
I'm really tired of it.
So tired of it. What's the mileage?
So we're now at 58,148.
Hang on a second. How do you calculate this?
What do you mean, how do you calculate? You subtract the smaller number from the bigger number.
226.
Strong number.
So how are you going to figure this out now based on what you've put in? Because we don't know how big the fuel tank is.
Yeah, but we were at full. So however many gallons I put in is however many gallons we used.
Right. What the hell is this?
What?
Huge thing!
Where?
There.
Oh,
God.
oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like it.
Where is it?
What is it?
I don't know. I don't like it.
It likes chrome. That wasn't very... We only used 9 gallons. 226 miles divided by 9.15 gallons means that we have been doing 24.7 miles per gallon.
Is that good or bad?
I mean, the Lincoln, same year, you were doing 11 or 12.
Good God.
So this would have been a Prius in its day.
Pretty much, yeah.
It also feels good to finally have a day with nice weather.
I'm so glad I can
It's
wear
not
my
cold.
my short sleeved
Waldo is with us.
Waldo.
Oh,
This is such a sweet
I feel
car,
reinvigorated
though.
today.
I do as well. We've had a sleep.
And we've got the sunlight on our bright blue dashboard.
This is, I have to say, for being the cheapest car in America back in 1979, it's a car I would have loved to have owned. If somebody gave me the brochure for this in 79 and said, that's all you can afford, I'll just go, great.
The thing that I think people overlook about the Malaise era is while it might have sucked, and while it might have led to a lot of cars like this that I'm sure at the time would have been pretty depressing, it also led to turbochargers.
Yep.
And superchargers being more common.
Yep.
And these really, really well-designed, small displacement engines, light sports cars. It created a lot of really good cars as we know it. And I think the same thing's going to happen again in the future.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think we're already seeing it happen in Europe, really, with all these fun electric vehicles like the Renault 5, the Renault 4.
Yes.
Even that new Dacia, whatever, the super cheap one, it's just very funky and very cool.
I think when you compare the Malaise era to now, the other difference that we have to keep in mind is that cars last longer.
Yeah.
When this car was new, the average lifespan of a car in the US was just over 6 years.
Yep.
Now it's 12 and a half. 12 and a half years a car is expected to be on the road.
You think 12 and a half is long?
Yeah.
It's 17 years in Greece. Oh.
You guys really do keep those cars on the road.
It's eco-friendly.
We're now entering the more fun part of our road trip. I would have loved to do it in 2 cars, but sadly, that ship has sailed. But we're gonna make the most of it, and we're gonna drive America's cheapest car from 46 years ago, 2,000 miles across country.
And I can't wait to do it.
Yep.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fantastic. So get
See you
subscribed, tune in for the next episode. Little Umberto?
Yep, I think so.
Umberto Tozzi!
Molto bene!
Take us home!
We go home now!